I've been telling you, you have to properly disclose your advertisements. And now this is happening.
That's it. That's my intro.
Hey, Amanda, you're watching Swell Entertainment, and today we are talking about a new lawsuit. Influencers are getting sued. So is Revolve. Why? Improperly disclosed ads. Now, this is more so things with influencers than quote unquote content creators. I do think there is a distinction and a difference. Specifically with influencers, everything that you post is not necessarily meant to entertain, but you are intending to sell a product or a lifestyle, okay? And I do think there is a distinction. Content creators can also be doing the same thing, but you can make content without the purpose of like just specifically selling things. There's potentially not an ad on this video. Actually, there is now. Hi, the ad is me. You should go check out my second channel. It's called Girly Pop Go. You should also go check me out on Twitch if you want to see me live stream. Okay, bye. I've been noticing this a lot as well lately with people working with companies. And I can't remember the last time I referenced this, but I know there was a video in the last year or two where I talked about when you are working with a company, whether you are an employee or a contractor, and you are doing promotion or posting as if you are doing like user-generated content without disclosing that you are at all affiliated with the company. And I feel like that is a problem. I'm seeing this rise on TikTok as well from brand accounts posting as if they are a user of a product. And then people are like, wait, this is your company though. I think it's a slippery slope. And there's been a handful of things like this, but let's talk about this lawsuit. Los Angeles Times. Revolve faces $50 million lawsuit alleging influencers hid paid brand partnerships. Popular Gen Z retailer Revolve is facing a $50 million lawsuit alleging that the brand's social media marketing tactics deceived at least 1 million consumers. The class action lawsuit filed Friday in California Central District Court accuses the Cerritos-based online retailer of violating federal trade law by operating an advertising scheme in which influencers disguise paid product endorsements as genuine recommendations in order to boost Revolve's sales. For many years, Revolve used its position, payments, and free merchandise to entice influencers to endorse and promote its products while facing to disclose any material relationship with the brand, the lawsuit said. Representatives for Revolve did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Lead plaintiff Ligia Nejrenu said in the lawsuit that had she known the influencer's posts were sponsored, she would not have purchased Revolve's products at the prices she paid, which at times were 10% or 40% higher than those of other retailers selling the same items. The lawsuit is seeking $50 million in damages. Revolve's affiliate companies, as well as 3 influencers, were listed as co-defendants. FTC mandated disclosure should be difficult to miss, like the paid partnership label advised by Meta or the hashtag, the lawsuit states. Instead, Revolve's paid influencers often merely tagged the fashion brand's Instagram account in their posts, according to the complaint. Now, I've seen this a lot too, and I've done this, not for paid advertisement. I have never been paid to post a company's clothes specifically. Have I been sent clothes? On occasion, okay? And I will admit, unless I post it on my story when it first happens, there are times that I forget to put hashtag gifted. If I got gifted something once and then I style it a year later, sometimes you just forget, okay? It's not an excuse, but it's something that you should be doing technically. A really good video, which I will pull up a link to this at least, is on the financial diet. Chelsea Fagan interviewed a TikToker, Pig Mommy. She's a fashion creator, and she talked about how she's done videos where she styles things that she bought herself and that weren't gifted or weren't brand gifted or sponsored or anything like that. People realize how many things that they consider like my staples were actually gifted to me and things like that, and like talking about that. And I think that's an interesting thing. And they talked about the importance of like putting hashtag gifted because you forget or things like that. But these are instances where they're saying that there is actual sponsorships involved where it's not gifted and they were receiving posts for posting in the clothing. That is a problem. That is an undisclosed ad, even if it's just an affiliate deal, okay? Like, for example, when I do things with, say, GamerSup.
Really quick, I wanted to make a note. Yes, I'm aware of what is going on with GamerSups and one of their other creators. My team and I are working to get in contact with people at GamerSups to figure out what they are planning to do about this. I am letting you know that I had already filmed this prior to learning of this situation. I am leaving this segment in because I think it provides good context onto an affiliate deal and things like that, and that is what I currently have with GamerSups. If GamerSups does not get back to us or they do not have an outcome for the situation that we like, we will be cutting ties with Gamer Subs. But I wanted to let you know that I am aware of the situation, but that's why this segment is still in here.
But I am a Gamer Subs partner. When I say, use code SWELL for 10% off of Gamer Subs, that is an affiliate code. They are not specifically like paying me a sponsorship fee like you would see if there was an ad on this video where I'm like, this video is sponsored by blank. That's one thing, but an affiliate code, they are not paying me to post, but I am getting a percentage of the order if you use my code when you pay. That is a whole different thing. This is alleging that they are doing paid sponsorships and they are just simply tagging the clothes. Here's a post that I just did at the Long Beach Grand Prix, and it's just me in jeans and a t-shirt and a jacket. I tagged McLaren and Reese because they're the ones that made the jacket I'm wearing. Why do I tag companies that aren't paying me to post and haven't gifted me any product? Normally, because I don't do a lot of fashion related content, that's what you guys ask me the most about. You ask me about makeup products, you ask me about the clothes I'm wearing, things like that. Those are the DMs I get. Hey, where'd you get the shirt you're wearing in this video? This is from Target, not affiliated. Okay, it's from not even kidding, 8 years ago, I think. This is an old style Spider-Man shirt. That's usually why I tag it. Now, there's a variety of reasons as why a creator, influencer, or otherwise will tag a company. Sometimes it's for attention. Would I love for Reese to send me their next McLaren collab because they just did another one? Yes, that would be nice. I would like things. Okay, but I am not at this time affiliated with them. And if I was, I would put the paid partnership ad. And for example, if there's ever time where I talk about something on a story, Instagram is pretty good about being like, hey, do you want to add the paid partnership label on this? If I mention something, and that's something as simple as me referencing, I'm drinking a Red Bull, so I tag Red Bull or something like that. And usually if it's a story post and I don't put hashtag gifted or something and I'm tagging a company, it's attention. I want attention. Send me things. I also just like the product, so I will talk about it. If I like the product, I will link that. I will tag them. If I'm shit talking something is when I won't tag someone. There have been times, if you're wondering, where influencers, micro-influencers in particular, have gotten brand deals with brands from tagging them and doing shoots with the products and things like that they bought on their own. That is one way that you can grow your brand affiliation and partnerships, is by tagging them and making organic content around them. Now, unless I actively like something, like this jacket that I tagged, I wear that thing regularly. It's one of my favorite pieces in my closet, okay? If that weren't the case and I was just trying to get attention, I probably would not tag them because I don't work for free. This is claiming that they posted it like a model shot or things where they tagged the company as if they were just tagging it to share who they were talking about or what they were wearing, and instead they were sponsored. This is something we're seeing a lot more, that I've been seeing a lot of complaints on in the Formula One WAG scene. WAGs are wives and girlfriends of sports stars. Is the official, what that acronym means, okay? But there are quite a few of them that have also branched into influencing and things like that, and a lot of them tag the clothes that they're wearing, and then later the companies will be like, oh, and here's, I don't want to get sued, this girlfriend wearing our dress blank. If that happens, assume the person is affiliated with them. If the company later repost the outfit and is like, oh, she's wearing our dress, and tags her and things like that in it, it's an implication that there is at least a gifted situation happening at the very least, if not a payment. Now, just because someone tags a company does not automatically mean that they are being paid. Like I said, I've tagged companies because you guys have asked where something is from and things like that, okay? And again, also, for example, my friend Anarchy just got married, okay? I was at her wedding. She did a post doing a rundown of everything because, for example, her dress was made by this small company, and she really wanted to plug them and shout them out because they did a beautiful job for a very affordable dress. And it's stunning. It looked beautiful. If you haven't seen the photos, she looks gorgeous, okay? And so she did a whole rundown of all the products and things like that, because there are just people that you influence, again, by selling products and showing off the products. None of those people paid her in any capacity, but people were asking what the dress was and things like that. So there's instances like that. So I don't want you to think that me doing this every time someone tags a company, why aren't you getting paid? There's a couple of different things here. Unfortunately, this is one of those things where you're not always going to know. If they're tagging the same company all the time, I own quite a bit of Meshki pieces. They do not know who I am. They have never sent me a thing, okay? I have definitely tagged a couple of my Meshki pieces a lot. Meshki does a lot of those sending and clothing a lot of influencers. They do not pay me whatsoever. So it's not always going to be super easy to tell who's getting paid and who isn't, or who's been gifted and who hasn't. That is why Revolve is being sued, because there are people that would not buy if they knew they were being paid to post that outfit or style it or edited it and things like that, okay? Let me continue. The problem comes when you don't disclose, said Bogdan Inika, one of Nezhernew's attorneys. He added that the guidelines established by the Federal Trade Commission require influencers endorsing a product on social media to disclose any material connection to the brand. Now, if I remember correctly, this actually all stemmed from Firefest. Okay, the first one, because a lot of influencers, I believe, including Kendall Jenner, allegedly, hypothetically, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, they were posting the orange square and doing the posts as if they were going to the event, and they had not been disclosed that they had been paid to post those, and they were basically doing paid sponsorships, okay? And so then people went to Firefest thinking they got to go party with models, and none of them were there. They were paid to post. And so I believe that's where the hashtag ad stipulation really came from. I could be wrong, okay? But I, in my brain, very much remember like all of this coming about, okay, around this time. In its 2023 annual report, Revolve warned about the risk of litigation should its thousands of social media influencer partners fail to follow FTC guidelines. The National Advertising Division of BBB National Programs, a nonprofit that oversees industry self-regulation programs, recommended earlier this year that Revolve modify influencer posts to clearly and conspicuously disclose the material connections between Revolve and influencers in its product gifting program. The lawsuit alleges that Revolve violated the Florida Deceptive Trade Practices Act, the Consumers Legal Remedy Act, and the Unlawful Business Practices Act, as well as consumer protection laws in more than 20 states. This is from advertisinglaw.fkks.com. Another one, Revolve hit with a $50 million class action lawsuit over undisclosed influencer ads. This is by Hannah Taylor. This is about the same lawsuit. This is not another lawsuit. Just 4 days ago, I wrote about 2 class action lawsuits taking aim at influencer campaigns that allegedly failed to follow disclosure rules. And now another one. This time it's against fashion powerhouse Revolve. So let me click the other one, the other lawsuit. Beyond the FTC, class actions hit influencer marketing. This is a few days prior. For years, influencer marketing enforcement has largely been the domain of the FTC, but 2 consumer class actions filed in early 2025 signaled that private plaintiffs may be stepping in to share the spotlight. 2 cases filed just days apart target brands and influencers alike for allegedly failing to disclose paid endorsements, signaling a possible shift in how influencer marketing will be policed. Bangoshia et al. V. Shein et al. Is the first one, a nationwide class action lawsuit. Consumers named both fast fashion giant Shein and a group of influencers as defendants, alleging they worked together to create a facade of organic social media buzz while concealing paid endorsements. The influencers, Bianca Anastasia Arcori, Abby Bagley, Manuela Britt, Tala Gulzar, Anastasia Korinicula, Sydney Moreau and Sydney Prado are accused of promoting Shein products without clearly disclosing that they were being compensated for their content. The lawsuit claims Shein's growth in the U.S. market, including a leap from $3 billion in global revenue in 2019 to $30 billion in 2022. That just did me psychic damage hearing those numbers. I'm sorry. Was fueled by these deceptive marketing practices. Specifically, the plaintiffs allege influencers were compensated to promote Shein products but did not disclose the material connection to the brand, resulting in content. Disclosures, if made at all, were buried in long hashtags or hidden beyond more buttons, rather than being clear and conspicuous. Plaintiffs relied on these posts to deciding to purchase Shein products and paid a premium only to receive items of substantially lower quality. There has been talk. Shein, I don't know. I've never willingly bought from Shein. Personally, I don't intend to. And I'm not getting into the argument with people in the comment sections again. I'm not doing this again, okay? About if you want to shop from Shein, you're an adult, I'm helping. Make your own decisions, okay? I refuse to. The end. But there's been long speculation from companies that are like Instagram-based companies or whatever, where they send one type of product or samples of higher quality to influencers and creators, and then the same item is of lesser quality when you actually go and buy it as a standard consumer. This was something that was actually really popular on beauty YouTube back in the day. I believe Manny MUA and a couple other YouTubers at the time would do, here's the PR I got, and then I actually ordered the product itself and made comparisons between the two, okay, to show if there was difference in quality or anything like that. Now that's beauty products. That's far more regulated than clothing and things like that. But there's long been speculation about like, oh, what they sent me is not what you're going to get type of thing, especially when it comes to a company like Shein. If your whole job is to make things look desirable on social media, you know how to shoot things and pin things and, you know, clip things so that an item that's not the best quality looks better in Photoshop or with Facetune, etc. Doesn't make it right, but you would know how to do it again. Then another one, this one's against Celsius, which is crazy. Dubrow versus Celsius Holdings. Just weeks earlier, in a similar case filed in California, both energy drink company Celsius and 3 influencers, Devin Barbara, Emily Tanner, and Erica Wheaton, were named as defendants in a proposed nationwide class action. Key allegations include that Celsius and the influencers deceptively marketed the brand's products by posting photos and videos that appeared to reflect genuine unpaid enthusiasm without disclosing the endorsements were actually paid promotions. If any disclosures were included, they were buried or presented in a way that made it almost impossible for users to discern that the post was sponsored. Plaintiffs would not have purchased Celsius products or paid as much had they known they were sponsored. And that's the thing, because someone's like, whoa, what do you mean they wouldn't have bought it and they bought it otherwise? Because if I recommend something, whether it's on social media or whatever, if I'm like, oh my God, this soup place is amazing. Okay, I love French onion soup. I post soups all the time. If you find out I was paid to post that, you're going to be like, does she actually like this soup? It's not a crazy concept, okay? You'd rather have me review something and talk about it than, say, do a sponsorship, okay? Now, you hope that me taking a sponsorship means I actually like a product, and in my opinion, I do that, but you may not believe that I do that, and that's fine. That is your prerogative. And so there are going to be people that, like, just because this person is talking about it, I may go look at the products and go investigate it a little bit more and see if there's anything I like, but I may not be as inclined to be like, does this person actually love this thing because they're being paid to talk about it type of thing, okay? And that's fine. That's every individual consumer's prerogative. But there are people that have figured that out, and that's why they are not disclosing. There's also this post as well where tagging something as an ad, like for example, if there's a sponsorship on this video, there's a couple of things I have to do. In the video, if I do, and I only do integrations, I never do paid advertisements or paid reviews or anything like that. There have been times where I've been given access for free because I review events and they're like, if you would like to make a video type of thing, but it's usually an up in the air thing. I never sign anything. I never take free handouts other than the free access itself when it comes to an event review type of thing, okay? And even then, there have been times where I've been very mean to those events and I'm on a blacklist now because of it. I never say I will only be positive about the event if that's the case. Let's say on this video, there's a sponsorship, okay? I work with Aura a lot and I work with Squarespace a lot. Neither of them are paying to be a part of this video in this segment, but I'm referencing 2 of my ongoing sponsorships currently. But for example, if I do a sponsorship, I always make it very clear that I'm doing a sponsorship. I usually add music mainly because a lot of you listen to me like a podcast. And so if there's now an ad, I want you to know that you are listening to an ad now. That's why there's music added to my brand deals. I film them separately from videos because I edit those separately. William edits the bulk of the videos, and then I usually add in a brand deal. That's easier for me filming wise and easier for me to edit those in. And also if there's ever an issue where, say, a sponsor does not approve in time and I need to take a sponsor out so that I can get my video out on time, it's easier for me to do it in that way because I can just plop it out versus being like, William, can you edit this out immediately? I need the video in 10 minutes. That's deranged. So I do that myself. But that's where you also hear me say, first thing first, but real quick, let's talk about the sponsor for this video, blank, okay? First thing I say whenever I'm talking about a sponsor. At the end, I then repeat, thank you for sponsoring this video, company. In the description box, it'll have, it's always got to be before the fold, okay? It's the call to action, okay? But I also, on YouTube, there's specifically a button, and because I think it's at a certain size, sometimes the buttons are different on people's videos because this is actually not on my Girly Pop Go channel, which is my second YouTube channel, or third YouTube channel, depending on who you ask, because I have a clips channel as well for streams and stuff, and my old podcast channel. But this is not on there, and so I don't know if it's a certain subscriber count or if it's just I'm in a test group, you never know. There are certain buttons on a video when you're about to publish it. Is this thing made for children? Yes or no? Does this include a paid promotion? Yes or no? Is this altered content, as in AI? So if there was a sponsorship on this video, I would have to put yes. And usually all of the sponsors that I work with are like, we need to make sure that's on there. If there's ever a time where I give them like an unlisted link for approval, if I forget to hit that, normally pretty much everyone that I've ever worked with is always very good about like, hey, we need that actual like disclosure on there. Because like you're seeing here, it's not just the influencer getting in trouble, it's the brands as well, because it is also on them to make sure that you are disclosing properly when you do a brand deal. When you do something on Instagram, hashtag ad needs to be very upfront, disclosing that this is an ad, whether it's a photo story or anything like that. If you are doing a story post, I've done a couple of these from time to time. I'll be frank with you. Typically when I do a story post ad on Instagram, because Instagram is not as big as here on YouTube, it is typically a make good. That is, there was a view guarantee on a brand deal. I usually don't like doing those, but a couple of them like it. Lilo likes a view guarantee from time to time. Sometimes a company will like a follow-up video to try and get you to that view guarantee number. There's a variety of reasons as why a view guarantee won't do well. Right now, my views are all over the place. That's usually what it is. But a view guarantee is usually the reason you'll get a make good. That's either a social media post on Instagram or a follow-up video type of thing. Instagram, if you do a story post, doesn't matter if it's 8 frames, hashtag ads got to go on every single one of them. Hashtag gifted on all of them. This is from 2022 from the BBC. So Grace Beverly, I actually really like her content. I've never bought from Tala, but she is founder and CEO of Tala and a couple other companies, okay? Tala is like a workout wear, athleisure wear type of company. Grace Beverly is based in the UK, is my understanding. This is an article from the BBC from Rhea Collins. And it says, Grace Beverly broke advert rules with Tala posts. Now, she is the head of the company. Influencer Grace Beverly broke advertising rules with 6 posts promoting her fashion brand Tala, a ruling says. The 27-year-old shared 2 reels and 4 TikToks in October, which the Advertising Standards Authority, ASA, have told her to remove. Grace shared the videos of her promoting a coat from Tala, and the company argued her followers would be aware of her relationship with the activewear brand. Again, she is the CEO and head of the company, I believe, at the time. But the ASA disagreed and found they breached rules that adverts must be obviously identifiable. The watchdog said it had received more than 50 complaints about the post not being clearly labeled as ads. Grace from London created Tala in 2019. The brand said she was synonymous with the business and her followers would know that. It said her connection to Tala was also made clear in her TikTok and Instagram bios and pointed out references in the videos to the coat being made in factories we literally had to beg at the door to get into. The reels were posted jointly with Tala's Instagram account, while the TikToks were shared in a playlist Grace had labeled aggressive marketing. Tala made the case that all the factors combined would have made it clear its users that the posts were for marketing purposes. Here's a screenshot from one of the videos. Give me less than a minute to tell you why this is the best coat the world has ever seen. However, the ASA said social media users who didn't follow Grace and saw her videos would likely be unaware of her connection to the brand. It said users would have to click through to her profile to see the references to Tala, and this did not amount to sufficient disclosure for individual ads. And while Grace hints at her links with the fashion retailer in the videos, the ASA noted the ads were several minutes long and those references were made partway through. You simply being publicly associated with a brand is not enough, even if it's your own company. If I start a second company tomorrow, okay, and I am promoting it on my personal account, I have to disclose that I am affiliated with that company. Like, let's say I'm making this is not my phone case. This is my phone case. It's so gross. I need to clean this thing. It's really weird. I'm not buying anything new. It's stained from my jeans. But let's say I'm selling this phone case, okay? And I, want to tell you about how amazing this phone case is or something. So I'm just sitting there telling you what amazing this phone case is, and I don't tell you that this is actually my company. And every time you buy this phone case, I will be making money from it because it's my secret company. There's been other instances of YouTubers getting in trouble for this over the years. This has happened quite a bit with beauty YouTube. Again, I know I'm bringing them up a lot, where an individual or an influencer launches a company or a product and they promote it or include it in a roundup or review or a recommendation without detailing that it is their company. And that has been something that has become a problem. Oh, Robert Frund, who does Robert Frund Law on Twitter and other platforms, mentions that the influencers named in Revolve lawsuit also faced the 50 million damages allegation, and 15 other influencers were named as defendants in a similar case against Aloe Yoga, filed the same day, seeking 150 million. Aloe Yoga as well. You have to disclose if you're getting paid for things, chat. I do think there is a difference also between literally just like tagging a company and then something that is very clearly an ad, but you forget to push hashtag ad, okay? There was an instance last year where I was working with a company that I no longer work with, and I did terminate this brand deal, so that post has since been deleted, okay, for other reasons that wasn't this. But I had posted a thing that was part of that, which was a community post where I was supposed to put hashtag ad, and I just put the whole thing, and I forgot to put the hashtag ad, okay? And you guys lost your shit, understandably. It was like, why'd you post this when it's clearly an ad? It was clearly an ad, and I forget to put hashtag ad. That's on me. But I do think that is one thing, like something that is very clearly an ad where someone is like doing like what's clearly a call to action and things like that. And I'm not saying this like, don't get mad at me. Feel free to get mad at me all you want. But I do think there's something where it's like very clearly a sponsored post where it's like literally tagging everything else, and then they just forgot to push the hashtag ad one time. I do think that is one thing. Versus regularly posting about the same company and not putting hashtag ad or hashtag gifted and things like that. It's one of those things where it's like, this isn't like a, here's what to look out for, because other than the fact that like they are clearly regularly posting this thing, but also if you have clothes and you are one of those people that's a creator and you like to tag your clothes so people know where you got certain things, and you're wearing that piece regularly, you're going to tag that company regularly. You know what I'm saying? It's a difficult thing to really ascertain as a consumer and as a fan of some of these people potentially. That's one of those things where it's like, we really do have to put the onus onto the influencers and onto the creators, and in some instances, these business owners and people working with these companies. Like I said at the start of this video, I'm seeing this a lot more where companies and brand owners from the brand account, which is how they're getting away with it. But at the very least, you're pissing off potential customers because the comment sections on those videos are very much like, I hate when brands post like they're a user. I hate that. In that instance, you're literally posting from the brand account. That is an ad that is very clear. Okay. But your potential users, your potential buyers, your potential customers, that's not going to build goodwill, especially when they feel lied to in that moment. It may be for a fraction of a second until they realize that you were posting from the account of the product you're promoting, but it doesn't feel good. But there's also been instances lately where I've seen people that I know work for a company or are working with a company, not as creators, but they are posting as if they are doing like a legitimate recommendation, and they are literally in the office of that company. If you see this, I saw you. Yes, I didn't tell you. I should have. I didn't. We're not that good in friends though. So I was like, how do I tell you you're committing fraud? Like, it's not good. Don't do it. Disclose. That's just shitty at the very least, and potentially open you to liability, like with the Grace Beverly thing. That's going to be all. Have you bought from Revolve? I still have never bought from Revolve. Do you guys like Revolve? I also haven't bought Aloe Yoga. What have I bought? I also want to disclose this as well. I want to make this note because there are companies that do a lot of gifting and PR. And so there's a lot of influencers and creators that are trying to get on those lists. And so they're posting and buying and linking and tagging like crazy, trying to get the attention of these companies. I think I touched on that. So it's like, I don't want to say that like these companies are engaging in this behavior just because we're seeing this type of behavior over here. You know what I'm saying? It's frustrating, and it'll be interesting to see if this goes anywhere with these class actions for any of these companies. But I do think this is going to be something where I've regularly talked about this. I'm convinced there's going to be a mass creator audit in a couple of years. And my accountant agrees with me, by the way. So save your receipts. Properly disclose your brand deals, sponsorships, and save your receipts for your write-offs. Tax season just went through. I got my first refund in years, which was really nice. You ever bought from Revolve? Did you see this lawsuit? Let me know. Comment down below. Reminder, I stream on Twitch. My Swell Entertainment is available on Spotify. Shout out to my channel members. If you also join my channel memberships, you can go ahead and click join down below. If you'd like to know social media, that'll be all up here. And that's me to have a lovely day. Goodbye. Side note. If you ever work with a company that encourages you to not use hashtag ad or to not properly disclose that it is paid sponsorship, never work with that company again. They do not care about you and they do not respect you. You are only a walking billboard to them, and they do not care if you lose all of your credibility with your audience so that they can get a couple of clicks and engagement. That's all. Peace.